Hey guys, you're in a nutshell with me, Ina. Nako, following the announcement a few days ago na kung saan sinabi po ng Canada na babawasan nito ang kanilang tatanggaping mga permanent residents in the coming years. Nako, I'm sure marami ngayon ang nag-aalala tungkol sa kanilang mga future dito sa Canada. Thousands, tens of thousands are expected to be affected by that announcement. Ngayon, ang pag-uusapan natin for this episode, ano ang options ng mga baka ilan sa inyo na nangangamba na mawalan ng status? What can you do as early as now, I guess, to prepare if you want to stay in Canada? Okay, o sige, pasok na natin ang ating guest, ang suki natin dito sa In a Nutshell. Ayan, Dayanara Impuerto, ang may-ari or ang RCIC ng Impuerto Bantigue Consultancy Incorporated. Yeah, senior contact information in the description box. Okay, nako, o Dayanara, mahaba itong magiging discussion natin, so let's get right to it. First, ano ang main effects muna na nakikita mo following the announcement na babawasan yung mga tatanggapin na permanent residents in the coming years? At huhugutin yun, no, yung pagbabawas, huhugutin yung sa iba't ibang pathways basically.
Yes.
What are the main effects that you see?
Well, because they limited it, they lessened it for like 100,000 per year, yung mababawasan. So it means like statistically less possible chance, less number ng possible slots for PR for each applicant. And this means na they cannot waste time. May mga kliyente po kasi ako na meron silang PR pathway na nauna, they missed that. Tapos nabigyan pa sila ng pagkakataon ulit ng pangalawa, minsan pangatlo. May mga ganong klaseng kliyente na masuswerte na they receive multiple opportunities, but that's not going to be the case anymore.
Yeah.
Because if you receive one chance and one opportunity for PR and you miss that, because there may be less draws, okay, mas kukunti na yung draw, whether express entry or provincial nomination, mas matataas yung cutoff scores na maaari nilang iset kasi they will want to get the best of the best, the cream of the crop. If, let's say, na-invite ka early this year, you missed it for some reason, may mali sa application mo, you missed it, you may not get another chance sa susunod. And yung susunod na taon, 2026, mas konti na siya. So, bumababa yung chance. Just looking at it from a statistical perspective, bumababa at bumababa yung pagkakataon, yung dami ng pagkakataon ng isang tao na makapag-apply ng PR.
Correct. Maliban sa, bumababa yung chance mo because the slots are becoming fewer. Now, it's also gonna be more competitive. Sabi nga ni Dayanara, tataas yung scores. So, let's just put it out there. Mas mahirap na talaga makuha ang permanent residency. Now, some are thinking, sige, uuwi na lang ako or wala na akong choice mawawalan ako ng status, baka hindi ako PR uuwi. So, this episode is for those who want to fight it out.
Yes.
Okay? The legal way, okay? Dahil alam natin may mga usap-usapan din na hindi ako uuwi, di ba? Magiging undocumented, but that's for a totally different episode. So ito ay para dun sa mga gustong ipaglaban ang kanilang ang pangarap dito sa Canada. Diba?
Yes, kasi hindi natin masasabi. I just spoke to a client yesterday na 2 taon nang nasa Canada. May PR pathway siya. In parang 9 months pa lang siya dito, may PR pathway na siya, hindi niya in-explore.
Yeah, yun na.
So, ngayon lang niya hinahabol kung kailan medyo tired na. He could have gotten it like a year ago.
Yeah.
So, may mga ganun po tayong mga klase ng cases. So, I just wanna put it out there na hindi na yun pwede ngayon. If you wish to stay, then you cannot waste time. The sooner you know your pathway or pathways, the better.
Sige. Speaking of limited time, sige, unahin na natin. Ano ang option, Dayanara, ng mga nandito na sa Canada, international student at naka-work permit, at naka-PGWP, ganyan, who are worried na limited na lang ang malapit na mag-expire yung mga work permit nila. Sabihin mo na in the next year, What can they do if they feel na baka mahirapan silang makapasok, kumbaga, dun sa, ma-invite for PR?
It depends on their status po, Ms. Ina. If you're an international student, I would say make sure that you stick to your study plan. Make sure to don't miss out, walang babagsak. Make sure na walang mag-overwork kasi you only have a limit of the number of work kasi all of these things can affect your eligibility to apply for post-graduation work permit. If they find out that, na may nagka-problema ka during the time that you were a student, naging part-time ka kahit hindi dapat, or nag-overwork ka, or may bumagsak ka, nag-extend ka ng time as a student, lahat ng yan ay maaaring maka-apekto sa eligibility ng isang tao for the PGWP. And understand na walang PR pathway for an international student na kasalukuyang nag-aaral. Very limited. Yeah. I would say wala. Lahat ng kilala ko na nakapagpa-PR ng estudyante pa lang, including myself, ay na-PR through their spouses.
Yeah.
If you are alone as an international student, you really have to become a worker first, usually, to explore possible PR pathways.
Yeah.
For an international student. Now, for an LMIA holder, then hopefully there's a chance for you to be extended by your employer. But then again, there are some changes sa LMIA.
1 year na lang yung low wage. Diana, paano yun?
Doon. In that case, I do have clients na they choose to change their status from worker to student, join an in-demand occupation, and then papuntang PGWP. Parang
para lang patagalin muna ang stay dito. Parang gano'n, to wait and see if it will open up new PR pathways.
Becoming a student and joining, let's say, construction or healthcare or agriculture or STEM, IT, these fields are in demand and these fields are kasama po doon sa listahan ng mga eligible pa rin for PGWP, even if you apply after November 1st. This will accomplish two things. You extend your stay in Canada and you also explore more PR pathways down the line.
But of course, obviously, that means gastos also.
It involves money. Yes, it involves money. I do have clients na who are able to do it successfully. For example, yung isa, dalawa silang TFW, for example. Yung isa nag-aral, tapos yung isa, kahit wala silang hawak na cash, I have seen successful cases na ang present nila is yung payslip or T4 or tax documents nung nagtatrabaho to show that they can support this person na nag-aaral. So sometimes they are, lalo pag nakita po nila na ang pag-aaralan ng tao ay in-demand occupation like agriculture or healthcare related, na alam nilang kailangan ng Canada, sometimes they provide a little bit of allowance for that kasi nandito na sila sa Canada, nag-contribute na sila.
Paano yung mga naka-work permit, Dayanara, who want to consider that? O sige, tignan ko, baka pwede akong mag-convert into student. Pero dala nila yung spouses nila. Di ba sa student pathway, ano na rin? May restrictions na rin sa kung kailan ka lang makakapagdala ng iyong family, ng asawa.
Opo. Then, depende po sa pag-aaralan. If they take, let's say, a master's or a bachelor's or a PhD program, then they can definitely apply for an open work permit for their spouse. Kung hindi po, then the spouse has two options. Umuwi sa home country nila, and then wait it out na makatapos yung student, makapag-apply ng PGWP, and then include them as a spouse in that application. Or, gaya po ng karamihan sa mga kliyente ko, may mga LMIA, yung mga asawa nila. So parang may work permit yung isa, tas may study permit yung isa. And they're able to stay together. Kahit na yung kukuhanin ng student is not master's, bachelor's, or program.
Nako, dapat pala kung gano'n, kung kakayanin, yung spouse muna, maghanap muna ng LMIA bago mag-apply for student.
Kung kakayanin. Kung kakayanin. I mean, case-to-case basis kasi, Ms. Ina, di ba? Case-to-case basis pa rin tayo sa kung anong mangyayari. Hindi naman po mawawala yung chance na talagang uuwi. Hindi yun mawawala. Ganun talaga. Isa ito sa, the hoops that we have to jump through.
Yeah. Ay, nako. Okay, how about for those on PGWP? Ayan, sabi mo ng ano muna, doon tayo sa mga 1 year left in their PGWP.
Oh God. Yeah, so in that case, the earlier you consult or the earlier you identify your PR pathways, the better. If you only have a year or 2 years or less than that, the earlier you find out, the better. So I did put like a game plan here na pwede nating steps that you can follow. Just from my point of view as a consultant, ito yung usually nangyayari kapag po may consultations kami. So the first one is you have to identify your NOCTAIR code.
Okay.
The NOCTAIR code is the 5-digit code na binibigay po sa bawat isang occupation sa Canada. So alam naman po natin na kapag ka NOCTAIR, kapag ka po ang inyong TAIR code ay 0 to 3, skilled yan. Kapag ka 4 to 5, low skilled, parang high skilled, low skilled, ganyan po. It's important for you to identify your NOCTAIR code because it dictates everything. It dictates whether kung makakapag-apply ka ng express entry or hindi. It dictates kung bang dito ka lang ba sa special program na to gaya ng AgriPilot or Atlantic Immigration or Rural Immigration. It also dictates kung ano yung sahod mo dapat kasi Miss Ina may mga PR pathway na hindi pwedeng low wage ka. Kailangan may mga ganyan. It also dictates kung anong klaseng dokumento yung i-apply mo. Para ang pinakamahirap, Miss Ina, is yung mga kliyente na ang minimum requirement dun sa NOCTAIR, sa PR pathway nila is high school, tapos di ba hindi tayo K-12?
Yeah.
So merong mga cases na may PR pathway sana sila, pero dahil hindi sila K-12, hindi sila graduate ng grade 12, hindi pwede. Kailangan muna nilang mag-test sa Canada. May mga test po sa Canada na pwedeng i-take para pumantay ka sa grade 12, o kaya baka kailangan mong magpa-assess. Education Credential Assessment, company gaya ng WES or ICAS. But one of the most common reasons kung ba't nare-refuse ang isang PR application is NOCTAIR mismatch. Hindi pala yung in-identify mo na NOCTAIR. So, isa yun sa pinaka-common po na dahilan. At kapag nag-a-apply ako ng PR, yan ang pinaka-mahalagang parte nung sinusulat kong letter na kailangan mag-match yun.
I see. Okay. Pero kunyari sabihin mo, Dayanara, 1 year to go sa PGWP and you only get PGWP once in your lifetime, right?
In your lifetime.
Tapos wala na silang wala na silang hope basically, so they have to go home. Ganun lang ba? And then what do you suggest them to do if they want to insist on going to Canada, wait it out and then apply through another Paano?
Some people can wait it out, especially those who already have Canadian experience.
Yeah.
Some of them can wait it out. Kasi if, let's say, your score is in the 500s, and then ang cut-off score ngayon is nasa 539, you can definitely wait it out, kahit nasa labas po kayo ng bansa. You can definitely wait it out na bumaba siya and then possibly get an invitation. But not everybody can do that. Not everybody can wait it out.
Bago po natin ipagpatuloy yung episode na yan, just a short commercial. This channel, ito pong in a nutshell, is open for collaboration, guys. If you're interested in creating content with me, please contact Talentado Creative Agency o yung Talentado CA. Sila po ang mag-handle ng mga collaborations for in a nutshell. And for content creators looking for someone to help boost your channels, whether here on YouTube, on Facebook, TikTok, i-consider nyo po ang Talentado Agency. Matutulungan po kayo, ito ng anak ko, matutulungan po kayo in networking. Ako personally, ang dami ko na agad natutunan sa kapwa Talentado talents na nakausap ko na. Ang dami mga tips on how to improve and boost my channel. So yeah, ito po ang contact information ng Talentado CA, and I will also put it down in the description box if you're interested. Okay, back to episode.
Another advantage of a PGWP holder is meron na siyang Canadian education and Canadian work experience that may make applying for LMIA easier compared to those who have never been to Canada. That's an advantage that they have, and hopefully they can utilize that down the line.
Okay. Are those on PGWP na 3 taon pa, do you think they're relatively safe?
Relatively, yes, because they have the time to wait it out. They
Okay.
have the time to, kasi po Miss Ina, PGWP is an open work permit. It doesn't limit you to a certain occupation. It can allow you to move and change fields. So I have seen clients na ang tinapos nila is business, but they were able to get into healthcare. I have seen clients who ang tinapos nila is construction, but they were able to get into agriculture. The PGWP allows that because it is a type of open work permit allowing you to change field. So let's say nakatapos ka ng business, walang PR opportunity kung magiging let's say business manager ka, pero kung mag-change ka into, let's say, a healthcare manager, I have seen clients do that successfully.
Paano sila mapupunta sa ganun? Is it easy to apply for a health something?
Not always easy, Ms. Ina. Sometimes it's a combination of previous credentials, previous experience, plus networking and a little bit of luck.
Nako.
Nakapasok ako dito. Tapos tumaas. Kaya nga, Ms. Ina, dapat alam mo yung Noctere. Kasi meron ka palang PR pathway, hindi mo ine-explore kasi akala mo ito yung trabaho mo, yun pala ito.
Okay.
Kaya mahalaga na kung hindi mo alam, ay magtanong ka. At magtanong ka sa tao na
nakakaalam.
Kasi marami po, gaya po marami po sa ating mga matatagal na dito sa Canada na nag-a-advise sa mga kamag-anak nila ng ganito, ganyan. Hindi po dahil ito yung PR pathway natin a few years ago, maaga-apply ito dun sa mga nandito ngayon. Iba yung sitwasyon nila. And we owe them that opportunity na hanapin yun sa sarili nila at i-correct yun sa sarili nila kesa ini-insist natin yung kinagis na natin or yung ginawa natin dati.
Oo. Ay, nako. O, sige, let's move on. Ito naman, sa mga naka-LAMIA.
Apo.
Nako, lalo na yung mag-renew tapos mabibigyan na lang ng 1-year contract dahil nga ang low-wage LAMIA, ililimit na lang po to 1 year. What can they do if they wanna, prepare in advance and try to find a way na hindi lang sila limited to 1 year?
Apo, number one is to make sure that you know whether or not you have a PR pathway.
Okay, for that job.
Sadly, there are LMIA work permit holders in Canada who don't have an opportunity for PR.
Like what? For example?
For example, a lot of people in Ontario have LMIAs for, let's say, food service supervisor.
Mahirap siya for PR pathway ngayon.
Because it's not part of the priority occupations of Ontario.
Okay.
So,
depende rin sa province.
Yes po. But from what I have seen, hindi rin siya kasama sa priorities ng BC.
Okay.
Ang Alberta, meron silang special pathway for that, tourism and hospitality, pero limitado lang ang slots. From what I know, it's around 500 to 600 people per year.
Okay.
So, if you are an LMIA work permit holder, at ito yung NOC mo, at wala ka palang PR pathway na na-identify for that, then you have, ang maaaring mangyari is renew ka na lang ng renew at isang taon until you retire, which is bad. And that happens to a lot of people, Ms. Ina.
Yeah.
That happens to a lot of people. Or you do some drastic measures gaya ng change your status from work permit to study permit, either ikaw o yung asawa mo. Kasi ikaw, maaari kang magstay sa LMIA, yung asawa mo, maaari siyang mag-aral. Or, I do know some people who go for talagang really drastic measures at mag-apply na ng humanitarian and compassionate.
Naku po, ang hirapan.
Kung matagal na sila talaga pong nandito at meron na silang established communities, ganyan po.
Yeah. Another one pala, Dayanara. Ito naman yung, paano yung mga posibleng maapektuhan dito sa bagong rules for high wage? Yung mga high wage jobs under LAMIA na ngayon, biglang mapupunta sa low wage because of the adjustments sa minimum salary na dapat ibigay. Kumbaga, ayaw ibigay sa kanila ng employer nila yung 20% increase. And then now, they're gonna be considered low wage. Anong mangyayari sa kanila and what do you advise them to do?
Then the same will happen to them po. They will be, parang the same with all those workers na may 1 year limit. Ganon din sila. 1 year limit, tas renew lang ng renew. Depende kung ano yung unemployment rate for that city. Depende din po sa pasensya ng employer. Kasi the employer will have to apply and reapply and apply and reapply for your LMIA. At some point, they will have to realize na, is it worth doing that over and over again, or is it worth just hiring someone in Canada, pay them a little more so you don't have to reapply and reapply? Kasi hindi rin naman mura mag-apply ng LMIA.
Oo.
Actually, kung gagamit ka ng lawyer or immigration, hindi rin mura yun para sa employer eh.
Correct.
So, at some point, you're going to have to realize na, ito bang LMIA ko at NOCTER code ko, worth it ba to na ulit-ulitin ko yung LMIA, or do I have to do something, a drastic measure such as educate myself, train myself, or have my spouse do the training so that we have a chance to change this course na kasalukuyang nandito kami.
Okay. Naku, pasensya na ko you guys, tingin ako ng tingin dito. Kasi si Diana came prepared talaga. Meron siya sa akin yung list na mga talking points. And I don't wanna miss any. May isa dito about yung pakikipag-usap sa employer.
Yes.
What is this for? Para kanino ito na maaaring makatulong? Oo.
So after niyo pong ma-identify yung inyong NOC, usually doon lumalabas yung mga possible PR pathway. After mong ma-identify ng tama yung NOC mo. Ang next step dyan usually is kausapin yung employer kung willing silang mag-support. Kasi Miss Ina, hindi lahat ng PR pathway probably 90% of PR pathways kailangan mo ng tulong ng employer mo. You need the employer to be supportive. And when I say supportive, they're not just providing you with certificate of employment, but signing an employer form for you, submitting documents to the provincial government, to the federal government. It's a big ask, honestly, but if you are new, ito para naman po ito dun sa mga maiigsi lang yung work permit nila or PGWP nila, it's important for you to ask them ahead of time or as soon as possible, can you support me? Will you be able to provide me with the employer form? Because if not, then it may not be worth staying in that employer.
Okay.
With that employer. So it's important for you to know ahead of time. Mahirap siyang tanungin. I get that. Mahirap siyang tanungin kasi parang
nakakahiya, no?
Parang nakakahiya siyang tanungin. But the alternative is waiting it out sa kanila nang wala kang PR pathway, losing time. And dahil konti na lang po ang SATs, we don't have that time.
Yeah. And I tell you guys, sa mga viewers natin, I've talked to many people who've done it. Okay? Huwag kayo mahiya. Ginagawa siya madalas.
Yes.
Oo.
It's a valid question.
Yeah, it is a valid question.
It's a valid question. So if you can ask, if you have the chance to ask, set up a meeting with the HR or your manager, and then ask as soon as you can. Don't stay in that employer without an idea kung tutulungan kanila or hindi. Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Ito naman yung others, yung preparation of documents.
I would say po, Ms. Ina, parang isa rin po sa pwede nilang tanungin ay, pwede mo bang palitan yung NOC ko?
May ganon.
Yes, kasi po may mga clients ako na binibigay sa kanilang NOC is general labor. Pero, pasok pala sila sa isa pang NOC na mas specific na merong PR pathway. Okay. Hindi naman fraud, kasi po, hindi ka naman nila lolokohin yung IRCC o yung provincial government kasi ginagawa mo naman talaga yung trabaho na yun. Kailangan mo lang ng dokumento na may bagong duties and responsibilities para mas makapag-apply ka. Maaaring ganon. Isa rin po is, pwede nyo pong sabihin sa inyong mga employer na kapag tinulungan mo ako, nakapag-apply ako ng PR, natanggap ng IRCC yung documents ko, meron akong chance na makapag-apply ng work permit, Ms. Ina. Kapag nakapag-apply na ang isang tao ng PR at na-receive na nila yung tinatawag na acknowledgement of receipt, merong mga closed work permits na maaari nilang applyan. Na pwede lang silang magtrabaho doon sa employer na tumulong sa kanila.
May ganun.
Yes.
I see.
So, para yan dun sa mga maiigsi na yung time. So, kunyari, mag-e-expire na yung work permit, na yung hawak mo, yung PGWP mo, mag-e-expire na. Pero nakapag-apply ka ng PR, natulungan ka ng employer mo, nakapag-apply ka ng PR, natanggap mo yung acknowledgement of receipt, then maaari ka nang makapag-apply ng work permit allowing you to wait sa Canada habang pinoproseso po yung PR ninyo.
Aba, I never heard of that. May ganun pala.
Ang tawag dyan sa express, ang tawag dyan for some, dalawang klase po kasi yan. Merong bridging open work permit. Bridging, kadalasan yun ay para sa mga nag-apply through express entry. Meron din naman pong type of closed work permit na pwede ka lang mag-work doon sa employer na natungulong sa'yo. Yan. May ganyan sa Ontario. Noong nakaraan po, naglabas ng ganyan ng Manitoba at Alberta. Humingi sila ng allowance sa gobyerno ng Canada na tulungan nyo naman kami na i-retain itong mga workers na to na nakapag-apply na ng PR. May mga ganun po.
I see. O, tinan mo, talagang dapat talaga nakikipag-usap ka sa mga nakakaalam eh. I had no idea about that. All right. Okay. And then, ano pa ba? Did I miss something here dito sa iyong bullets? O, sige. Doon naman tayo. Sige, go ahead.
Doon po sa number 3, kasi po naririnig ko palagi yung mga tao na nag-aabang. Kailan ba lalabas yung pathway for Tier 4 or 5 positions? Yung po mga low wage, ganyan. Low skilled work. Yung mga nasa manufacturing, nasa food processing, factory workers, ganyan. I have to inform you na meron naman. Hindi mo kailangan maghintay na ilabas siya ng Government of Canada kasi meron naman na pathway po ang mga ibang probinsya, specifically Ontario, British Columbia, and Alberta. Meron na silang mga pathway para sa mga low-skilled work. Plus, yung Atlantic immigration at rural and northern immigration both have parang mechanisms para tumanggap po ng mga nasa Tier 4 or Tier 5 position. So,
okay.
Yun yung mga hindi alam kadalasan po nung iba na, ay, di may PR pathway na pala ako. Hindi ko alam, na-miss out ko lang. So, it's really important to ask.
Okay. O, ayan na. Sige, magtanong kayo. Again, her contact information nandyan sa baba. Okay, asan na ba tayo? Okay, ito. Yung mga nagpaplano pa lang, ngayon, iniisip, ay, okay, I'm dropping Canada. Hindi na ako pupunta ng Canada. What do you advise them to do? Should they wait it out na lang talaga muna? Ano ba? Kasi, remember, dun sa in-announce ng Canada na lilimitahan nga, babawasan yung bilang ng mga tatanggapin nilang PR. Dun sa, nakalimutan ko na ilan yung tatanggapin, but 40% of that will come from those who are already here. So, binawasan na yun, at lalo pang liliit yung slots for those who are not here yet. Yung mga nagpaplana pa lang.
Yes.
Oo, no? So, it's very, very difficult.
Yes.
Obviously. Anong ina-advise mo sa kanila?
Babalik tayo, Miss Ina, sa pinag-usapan natin po noong nakaraang video na bakit nga ba hindi na lang dumiretso ng PR. This is the answer. Kasi 40%, more than 40% of those who they will accept ng PR ay nandito na. Yeah. So the advantage belongs to those who are already here. Those who already have or already are working towards their Canadian education, Canadian diplomas, degrees, certificates, and those who are, gaining their Canadian experience. So if you are outside Canada, all the more na disadvantageous para sa'yo.
Yeah.
Yes. So, pero sa nakikita ko kasi ngayon, Miss Ina, napapansin ko pagka naglalakad-lakad ako sa labas, the effect of yung paglilimit na nila sa international students, yung loss of ng interest ng mga, let's say, foreign nationals na pumunta sa Canada, lumalabas na yung, in a way, yung effect niya. Kasi ngayon, nakakakita na ako ng mga apartments na
mas mura.
Mas mura. Tapos, libre yung first and last month.
Okay.
There was a time na wala yun, Miss Ina. Parang mga apartments na nag-aagawan ang mga tao ngayon, lumuluwag ngayon, in a way. Cost of living, hindi masyado. Pero yung availability ng housing, ganyan, I would say na nag-i-improve siya dahil kumukonti nga yung international students. And if you have the capacity to get into Canada this time, you do have those advantages with you. Less people sa campuses, less ang agawan ng slots dun sa mga in-demand programs, gaya sa healthcare, construction, STEM. Hindi katulad na dati na nagkakaubusan ng slot. So there's that advantage if you have the means, if you have the financial means, then I say now is a good time to try. To get into Canada.
International student. Pero again, guys, let's learn from itong mga what's been happening in recent months. Okay? You have to plan your IS to PR, pathway. Hindi na pwedeng bara-bara. You pick the right course in the right province and mahirap pa. There is no guarantee sa PR. Tandaan nyo yan.
Yes.
There is no 100% plan. So,
ngayon, Miss Ina, hindi na ako nag-a-apply meron akong isang client na business pa rin yung program niya, pero I will have to apply for her before November 1st. Pero ngayon, hindi na ako nagsasuggest ng programs na hindi within the in-demand occupation list po ng Canada. So, I have, honestly, it's more integrity when it comes to suggesting now. Kasi may direction ako pag nagsasuggest ako and that helps a lot. But if you have the means, now,
huwag kayo pumunta dito ng walang baon, ha?
Walang baon.
Lang tayong lahat yan.
Yes, don't go for private schools. Don't go to, as much as possible, do not go to cities, bigger cities like Calgary, Toronto, Vancouver, Edmonton. Go to cities outside these areas because they also give advantages when it comes to PR.
Oh, sige. Alright. Ito, huling grupo ng mga tao. Nako, ito na, Dayanara. We had an episode about this, I think. Baka merong mga nag-iisip na, okay, mawala ng status, magsistay dito. Basically, they will be undocumented, illegals. Okay, or illegals. Anong mensahe mo sa mga yan ang mindset?
Don't. As much as possible, don't. Because once you make that decision, you will be jeopardizing your future, not just in Canada, but in a lot of other countries. As you can see, Canada shares information with New Zealand, Australia, UK, and the US. So by, technically blacklisting yourself in Canada, you're effectively, losing all the opportunities dun sa ibang mga bansa na yun. So don't, as much as possible. It may be better to just go home and then try again.
Yeah.
At least clean, malinaw yung record mo. Wala kang magiging problema in the future, but don't. There are only certain ways for you to come back after becoming a TNT or after losing your status. Iilan lang yung paraan to come back sa maayos at malinis na paraan. And hindi yun madali, yung mga steps na yun, so don't.
Yeah, ay nako.
It's not worth it. Not worth it.
Ang hirap maging undocumented, no? You don't have
benefit
access to healthcare anymore. Pati pala lisensya nakatahi yata sa posibleng hindi ka na makapag-drive. Tama ba yun? Parang I watched somewhere, minsan kasi nakatali daw yung lisensya dun sa expiry ng halimbawa kung naka-work permit ka. May ganun ba?
Hindi ko po sure, Miss Ina.
Anyway, guys, I-check niya na parang I watched something like that. But definitely, it will impact yung, access ninyo sa benefits na meron ang mga may legal status.
Yes. So, and also, wala kang laban. Kung sabihin ng employer sa'yo na, hindi, magtrabaho ka ng ganitong number of hours this week. Wala kang choice.
You will be at the mercy of your employers. Marami din mga abusadong employers dito.
And then, Miss Ina, ang hirap naman po kasi nung gigising ka sa umaga, hindi mo alam kung last day mo na sa Canada that day.
Tapos literal, bawal ka talaga rin magkasakit.
Bawal ka magkasakit. Tapos, ngayon, nagkakaroon na sila ng mga random checks ang CPSA.
Yes.
So, hindi natin to masasabi kung gaano ka-extensive yung gagawin nila in the future. And,
maraming nagsusumbong ngayon, I think.
Oh, yes.
Kasi many of the raids daw happening or spot checks happening, sometimes, oftentimes they come from tips.
Yes.
Kaya, ingat kayo. Diba?
So they wouldn't know. They wouldn't know kung walang magtuturo. Canada doesn't have ICE. Yung pong parang sa US.
Who knows in the future magkaroon. Diba?
No, parang CBSA yun yung ICE natin. Parang CBSA po yung ICE natin dito. Pero, it's a hard life. It's a very hard life. Pero kasi Miss Ina, naiintindihan naman natin kasi po kasi ngayon meron na namang bagyo sa Pilipinas. Nakita natin kung gaano kahirap.
I know.
Diba? Nakita natin eh.
Correct. Actually, yan din ang kumbaga, yan ang nasa isip ko tuwing nakakita ko ng mga comments saying na parang, ba't mo pa tinuturuan yung mga kababayan natin na manatili? Mahihirapan na nga sila dyan. Iba na nga ang panahon sa Canada, mahirap na nga ang buhay sa Canada. I'm not insisting that they do, but hindi kasi mawawala na merong mga tao na gusto talagang ipaglaban yung ang buhay sa ibang bansa, not just in Canada.
Especially in Canada.
So the least I can do is, help them. The least we can do is help them do it the right way.
The right way. Point them to the right direction.
Correct.
You do save not just time. You save time. You save opportunities. You save by asking the correct people.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be me. But it could be other people that you trust. Hindi po lahat ng nagsasalita ng parang meron po kasing mga ibang, alam niyo naman po yan, ghost agents, fake consultants na magagaling silang magsalita na napapaniwala nila yung iba na legit sila. Madali pong mag-check kung legit na consultant yung kausap ninyo. So make sure you check that before you give them money or ganyan. Kasi sometimes they will ask for less pay. Pero kung ang kapalit nun ay misrepresentation o possible loss of chance for PR, possible loss of status, not worth it.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Make sure to just ask the correct people or do the research yourself. But again, part of doing DIY is accepting the risks.
Correct. Lastly, kung wala na talagang mangyari, hindi kayo ma-PR, guys, wala kayong choice kundi umuwi. There's nothing wrong. Masama man sa loob ninyo na, umuwi, kung saan man kayo galing. It's still home. It's still home.
It's still home.
And you can try again. again. Some people, di ba, Dayanara, I think, mga 10 years in the making, ang mga, ang migration story nila, di ba?
Yes.
Ganun katagal.
Yes.
So, ganun talaga.
Kanya-kanya. And if that is his plan, then who are we to question it at the end of the day?
Correct. Ay, nako. Did I miss out in anything? Baka may na-miss ako, Dayanara.
Wala naman po, Miss Ina. I think we were able to, my last talking point here is preparation of documents, but that is something a consultant can help you with down the line. It's at the end of the day, your PR application, ang cornerstone yan ay dokumento.
Yeah.
Well, ilalagay ko po sasabihin, the visa officer will not believe you kung ikaw na nagsasalita. If it's just you stating na ito yung trabaho ko, ito yung tinapos ko, they're not gonna believe you. You need to supply the proper document as evidence. And the more documents you have, the better when it comes to a PR application. So, yan lang po yung aking iiwanan sa mga mag-a-apply po ng PR in the future.
Yan. Okay. Diba? Sana maraming naliwanagan at natulungan as usual. Thank you so much, Dayanara. Again, her contact information nandyan po sa description box. We will end this episode here. And again, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!